What's up everybody, welcome back or to the channel. Welcome to another video. Today is Dyno Day. But before we get into it, as always, roll the intro. So yes guys, today is Dyno Day. We are finally taking my 2024 Harley-Davidson Road Glide with the Stage 2 to the dyno to get a custom tune done. We are going to do a before and after to see what is going to be making, how it is set up right now with the 528 cam, the Khrome Werks hideaway headers, and the HP Plus mufflers, as well as the Trask air cleaner. We're gonna see what it's making right now with the 505 tune from ThunderMax, and then what it's gonna be making with the custom tune as well. Now remember guys, this bike is set up for touring, two-up riding, but I'm about to take off to JCS Performance in McAllen, Texas, so that Johnny can take care of my bike for me. I'm so excited for this. Come along with me as we get this bike on the dyno. Let's go. Okay guys, we just made it to JCS Performance. Let's get inside so we can fill out all the paperwork needed and he can get started. Okay guys, we just got back from dropping the bike off at JCS Performance. The form that I was filling out that you just saw is going to be a questionnaire from them. So it's asking questions about what all is done to the bike, what cam, what injectors, intake, exhaust, stuff like that, just so that they can dial in that tune for you. And then on the other page that I didn't show, it was going to be questions about how the bike's ridden from highway speeds to in town. He just wants to know a little bit more about your riding style so that he can tune for it. I had a great conversation with Johnny about what all I want to do and how I ride the bike. Also, we discussed a little bit of something else for the next video. It might be Khrome Werks Baffle Battles Part 3, just to see if there is any difference and the different baffles. So stay tuned for that. But overall, it was a good conversation with Johnny. It was probably about half an hour discussing everything about what he's gonna end up doing to get the bike to where it needs to be. Even he's curious about the difference of horsepower and torque numbers with my setup for the open baffle, the louvered baffles and the ripper baffles. Then we can see what this bike will do now with the draggy compared to what it did last time. So he's gonna get to work on it right now. It's gonna take maybe a couple days because they don't do the dyno tuning and stuff like that until the end of the day. But hopefully the bike will be done on Wednesday. Today is Monday, February 2nd. So hopefully by Wednesday, he will be able to get everything done and I can pick the bike back up. And then what we're also gonna do is he's gonna give a shop tour and he is going to go over the results for the bike and he's gonna explain everything as well. Stay tuned.
One eternity later.
All right guys, we are back at JCS Performance. Today is Monday, February 9th. The bike was finished last Wednesday, but I just wasn't able to get here to pick it up, but I'm able to do it today. So let's get inside. All right guys, we are here at JCS Performance with Johnny.
What's up guys?
You wanna give us a little shop tour?
Yeah, so basically this is our showroom area. These are some of the bikes that we're currently working on, just finished up right now. So we have a real nice breakout right here that we did the SNS 475 cam, and then we got it dyno tuned here. We dyno tuned it, and the customer ended up putting in a 23-inch front wheel. He sent it over to Heartland, got the wide tire kit. This thing is super clean, very nice. Yeah, it's a great looking bike, runs extremely well. So that has an SNS 475 with the push rods from SNS, lifters from SNS. And then we did a couple of different things on it. He did the pegs, grips, mirrors. He had a real good friend of his just shoot candy over the factory paint. So this paint job came out really nice. It's a little dusty from sitting in here, but Vincent Hines big radius exhaust. So here we have our bike that we call Sky. So this is just a older Dyna 110 motor build that we did. Real nice T-Man 625 cams. These are some heads that we ported and polished. We did the paint in-house. So this is all gold leaf with candy, purple candy, silver flake. You can barely see a little bit of the silver flake here. In the sun, you can really see the flake pop out. We have quite a bit of builds here. This is a real nice build that we're building for a customer. He's from El Paso. This is a 148 cubic inch, and we're gonna end up doing a turbo on there. A lot of nice parts. He's going all out on it as well. So we got the Ardennes calipers, rotors, all the floorboards, all that stuff is Ardennes. And then all the motor covers have been coated in a real nice blue candy. And that's gonna match the paint job. We're doing a pretty nice paint job right now. So we're in the process of building the heads. This is just an old build that we did. Oh man, we probably did this 15, 18 years ago. That's an old chopper that we did. And really nice.
That color is insane.
Yeah, it really is. So what it is, it's Edgar Solis from EDS Airbrush Graphics. He did the paint job. It's a black base, and then it's like a chrome paint, and then he shot candy brandy wine over it, and he did all the airbrush graphics on it. It's amazing.
What size motor is
this? I think this one's a 127 TP motor. Has rear airbags, so it goes up and down. Really nice bike. Like I said, we built this years ago, and it's still in amazing shape. So we have another bike that's very similar, which would be the Trike. This paint job was also done by Edgar. It's amazing. The paint job is
Jesus.
Yeah, it's a little dusty from sitting here, but he painted the bottom of the frame underneath the gas tank. He even has a real nice artwork underneath the seat. Yeah. So if you can see, like, the paint job has no justice here, but you can see when the light hits it, you can see all the different colors.
Wow.
And it's all candy. So it's a silver base, and then it's all candy. So we did the gas tank, the frame, handlebars, rear fenders. We built all that, but Edgar's the one that did the paint job for us.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That is crazy.
Here's an old bike of ours. This is, we call her Blondie. We've had this thing forever, and we ran it everywhere. And then we ended up building it for one of the Easy Rider bike shows that we used to attend to. So the seat was made from Daniel from Waco. He does saddles, so he's the one that made the seat for us. Again, Edgar did the airbrush there. As usual, you know, we're always running late for the bike shows, and Edgar's helping us out. That bike there, so that bike there we also built for another Easy Rider show when we used to attend the Easy Rider shows, and that one's called Esperanza. And if you, top of the gas tank is another mural that Edgar did for us. Most of the paint job, the candy I did, he helped me with the pinstriping. The etching on all the parts there was this man in, I believe it was from Harlingen. He was a gunsmith, and he did all the etching on everything that you see that's black and etched here. He did it all by hand. And this is a 96, I believe, or 98 cubic inch motor that we built. Really nice, a lot of gym stuff, roller rockers and stuff.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah.
What's up with the wall?
Oh, so this is some of our magazine features where we've been in some of the trophies that we won over the years from Easy Rider and the Rat's Hole. Very proud of, you know, all the hard work that everybody here has done. So you can see a lot of the bikes that we've been featured in Street Shopper and the Horse magazine. My dad's bike has come out in Italy, France, Germany. We've been very, very fortunate. Yeah, over the years, it's just been really, really, really great accomplishments actually from everybody here at the shop. So another nice build. We just recently finished this one. So this one has a SMT wheel 21 in the front, Star Racing F35 cam. That thing, we got great numbers with that. Bassani exhaust. So it has airbags front and back. Nice center stand, kickstand. It's all air. I really like how American Suspension did the piggybacks here, and it's actually a reservoir for the back, for the rear shocks. And I think it looks pretty nice because you know how everybody's doing the piggybacks now, Legends and everybody else, you know. So I think that came out really nice. What I like about this bike is that all the little details, if you look at like all the stainless steel bolts, everything, it just looks so simple. You know, it looks so factory, so stock, but at the same time, it's just, you know, full custom. You know, you can see how the bottom scoop's been painted, you know, to match the bike. The inner fairing's been matched, you know, just the small little details. You know, the heat shields have been painted. Rockford Fosgate system on it, and it runs really, really, really well.
And the owner of this one, right, is...
Yeah, the same owner as this one, yeah. So you can see how he has a style, right? Kind of like a factory custom look that's going on there. So let's go to the back. Well, here we have another couple of motors that we're working on. This is a 143 cubic inch motor. This is going on my Dyno. A lot of custom stuff. SNS made the cases for us. Randy at High Performance did the cylinders. George Bryce did the pistons. This is a 145 that we're working on. That's going on my drag bike. So we can go to the back, show you some of the stuff that we're working on. So we got this bike here that came in from the Dallas area. We're gonna go ahead and, we just finished doing the dyno tuning. We got a cam here. Juan did the cam on his motorcycle. Some of the motor work we're working on. So this is a 124 cubic inch twin cam. SNS flywheels, SNS cylinders and pistons, getting ready to put that together. This is a 131 that we're working on, and another 124 or 128 we're working on. And here's a couple of different motors. This is the 107 cubic inch Evo that we're gonna put on that motorcycle that's over there. That's a 107, 124. We're getting ready to build two 131s. That's a 120 cubic inch. So, see, most of these people need to understand that where the Harley makes the power is in the bigger valves. You can see here are some SNS B2 heads. You can see where the valves are really big compared to, this is your stock twin cam valve. So this is one that comes on your 103 cubic inch twin cam. And see, these are the valves that we're using now, so you can see the difference. And there's where the Harleys make power, you know, on the head work, and start bumping up the compression is where they start making power.
Okay.
Yeah. Here we got a couple of builds we're working on. This bike is another older bike that we built probably 12 years, 15 years ago also. This is a really nice little bobber that we built for Joe Sanchez. It's amazing. I love this bike. And again, Edgar Solis did the paint. Actually, if we look here in 99, you can see right there where,
Oh, wow.
yeah, that's when it was built and painted.
I love the wolves.
Yeah, yeah. And if you see, there's a motorcycle back there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Look at that.
And they just came in to get it. It's been parked, so we're just cleaning it up, getting it running for him again. So actually, we're about ready to finish it now. So here's some other machinery that we have. We're very fortunate that we have a lot of big machinery, a lot of nice tools. So this is our lathe. We do so much on this machine. This machine runs almost every day. Here's where we're working. Right now, we're working on these set of heads. So we're basically getting ready to open up the seat so we can start getting ready to put the bigger valves. So if you notice, really good example. So this is the size of the factory seat in here. And then we got this one where we just finished cutting the inside. So that's how much we're taking off from the inside of the seat.
Oh,
right?
wow.
And then we'll go back and this is the valves, the size of valves we're going to end up putting. We run Kibble White valves. We really like the way their quality is. And then this is the tool that comes back. And with this tool, you can come back and cut all three angles at the same time. You've heard people say, you know, the 45 and the 60-degree angle and stuff, the 30-degree angle. So what it does, it comes back and it cuts all three angles at the same time. And it gets everything even, especially like on an M8 where you have to have both valves to open and close at the same time. So this, with all the measurements and everything, makes it way easier than the older ones when you had to use stone and stuff. So yeah. And we do it out of service too. We're doing, here we have Bob's, we're changing the starter. So spark plug service, oil changes, you know, all that stuff we end up doing. And then I guess we'll have our dyno over here. So this is our dyno. This is it's an older chassis, but it's all been modernized with a new upgrade on the software and all that stuff. And we're very fortunate. We just got another dyno, and that one's a newer chassis. We'll be able to run and dyno tune trikes. So that's going to be, we're going to have that one on the outside there, and then this one will stay inside here. So gives us the opportunity to move and adjust so much. With the newer software, you can see our AFR. You can tune both front and rear cylinder at the same time, versus with the older modules, you have to do one cylinder at a time. So with this, it gives us the opportunity to tune both at the same time, kind of helps us out. And then everything gets red up there. All right, so when it first came in, so this was your base run basically. And that is, the top line would be your torque and your bottom line would be your horsepower.
And this was done in touring mode, right? Road mode?
Correct, yes. So we ended up with 104 horse and then 127 torque.
I gotta pump those numbers up. Those are rookie numbers in this racket.
And of course, this one already had the ThunderMax with a couple of auto-tune sessions.
Yeah, it's with the 505 tune that ThunderMax has for the M8.
Okay. And then here's the second to the last. So you can see where we ended up with 118 horse, 135 torque. I have advanced it 2 degrees and we gained a little bit of horses and the torque stayed about the same. I guess we lost about one torque, but the horse basically stayed the same right there, 119. You can see the graph. Most of the times when you advance it, it gets kind of crazy back here in the top. And then if you look, let me clear that and then we'll come back to here. You can see some of these little wiggly lines right here. Most of the times the dyno will show you everything. It doesn't lie. So like right there, it's already, the clutches are already starting to slip right there. But you have to understand that's at wide open throttle. That's at 6,000 RPMs, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Most people don't ride there. Most times what you want is right here in between 3,000 and 4,000. That's your riding where everybody rides right there. Your RPM range. So that we ended up with 119, 134. But a big difference from when it first came in, you can see the graph right there, graph change right there. Lots and lots of difference.
Oh yeah.
So you're gonna feel, especially the torque. That's what everybody feels, the torque. And this is the horsepower. Most of the times, what gets you going is the torque. That's what you feel. And then the horsepower would be, most of the time, like whenever you're gonna pass a vehicle, is the horsepower is where you're gonna use it there.
Yeah, especially with the 800-pound plus bike.
Yeah,
you definitely need some torque.
And that's what people don't understand. A lot of people, you need where the intake valve closes is the most important part on a cam, because that's where your torque's either going to come in earlier, right, or come in at a later part of the RPM range. So the sooner the intake valve closes, the torque comes in sooner and it gets the motorcycle moving faster. So it's very important that you get with your engine builder or somebody that has a little bit of knowledge of the cam, so they help you kind of pick and choose your cam here. So this was tuned with of course, with the ThunderMax. And then here's where you can see the front cylinder, where you can tune, you know, like right now, let's just say at 1,000. This is where you're sitting here and idling, right? And then most of the times at highway speeds, you're at 3,000 RPMs. So that would be your front cylinder. This is your rear cylinder. See, 3,000. So I myself, I'm a big fan of Power Vision, and the reason why I like choosing Power Vision is I have this page open where I wanted to show you that all these are little doors that I can come in and move things around, right? So those are all the doors that we can come in and move and help us get the best we can out of the motor. And it's not really about making 1,000 horses. It's about trying to get it to run efficient. You know what I mean? Where the motor runs, the motor's going to tell you what it wants, how much fuel, how much torque, or timing. So it's very important where you'll see, here's a fuel table. I want to show you a fuel table and see if I can bring this down here. So here's a really good fuel table where everything's really nice and smooth all the way across the board. And that's what you want, where the motorcycle is running efficient. So most of the time, let's just say around 15%, 3,000 RPMs. Most of the time, that's your highway speed. There's where you're at right here, you know. And so right now on the dyno, what the numbers that you see are way down here. You know what I mean? So that's an area that hardly anybody rides, and that's the reason why you want to try to choose a cam that's going to give you the best performance in this area right here, right? And now if you're a drag racer and you're going to be at full open, wide open throttle, then yeah, you want to choose a cam for that. But it's very important that you choose a cam for your style of riding.
Yeah, whenever I came in, he started asking me why I went with the cam I chose. and that's because I do a lot of 2-up long distance tour riding, so I need a cam that has more torque to get around vehicles and take off from stoplights and stuff like that, especially with my wife on the back.
Yeah. So what happens is, especially like we have a series of questions that we like to ask the customer, and it's very important that it if you ride with a passenger, ride with luggage, then it's very important that you choose a cam that's going to go that way. And also for my tuning, let's just say, let me open this up. For my tuning, it's very important that I know, because let me see if we go over here to air fuel ratio, right? That's something that a lot of people don't talk about. So this is your air fuel ratio. So on this bike, you know, he cruises around the 3,000 to 3,500 RPMs. So right here is where we give him fuel economy, right? But we want to give him really good throttle response. So if you see here, it's 13.6, 13.7. So the higher the number, the leaner it gets, the more air to fuel ratio. The smaller the number, the more fuel to air ratio. So if we go back to the VE table, right, which this is what we would call your fuel table. See, if you look at 3,000 right here, normally when you're on the highway, you're gonna be around this area right here on the highway. So it's giving you really good fuel economy right there. But then if you're, you know, with your buddies and you're hot rodding around, then you're normally gonna be around the 4,000 RPMs, 25 throttle position. So right here so you need to add more fuel, right? But if you're riding with, you know, with the passenger, you know, cruising on the highway, you want to give it less fuel to the point where it gives you a better fuel economy. So it's very important that's the reason why we ask those kind of questions. And you know, if you're an in-town hot rodder, we need to give you fuel for that section. If you're going to be passing aggressive, we need to give you fuel there. So it's important that we find out your riding style. Yeah. So this is another thing that, again, nobody ever talks about, you know, timing. You know, timing is very important on a cam. Where you add timing and where you take timing away is very important on each specific cam. So yes, you can advance it so much here that we can give you better numbers on the dyno, but then when you go ride it, you know, it's going to be either pinging or running really hot or not really giving you that throttle response. So timing is very, very important. So those are some of the things that as a tuner we need to figure out because of your riding style. So, but here on the ThunderMax, you can see where you can change your air fuel ratios also depending on, like, let's say I keep going back to 3,000 because that's an average RPMs on the highway. So you can see where it started off being a little rich, then it gets leaner. So right here is your fuel economy on the highway. So you get better fuel mileage. And then if you're gonna be more aggressive on the throttle, you can see where it starts getting a little bit more rich. You start going to pass a vehicle, your throttle starts opening up, and then you start getting a little bit more fuel, and that helps you out to pass the vehicle. And then you go back and slow down back to 3,000 RPMs, and then it gives you fuel economy again as well. So what we can do right now, if you want, we'll warm it up. We'll do a full run, so see what it does.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then I'd be interested to see what it makes in sport mode, because this is tuned for road mode, because that's how I ride 95% of the time. But I'm just curious as to what this will actually make.
So we'll start the bike. It's probably need these.
Time to nut up or shut up.
That thing is so loud.
So you can see it was quite a bit of difference. So the first run was basically 117, 135, and then basically the last run was 110, which was sport mode, 110, 128. Or no, was a touring mode, right? Touring.
Yeah, touring mode.
So yeah. So wow. Between 110 and 117 and 128 and 135.
Yeah.
Quite a bit of difference.
And I know that zippers, I believe for this cam, they say they can produce 135 torque, which it definitely can in sport mode. But I don't think that with this setup, how my bike is with the 2-in-1 and the 2, with a 2-in-1 exhaust, I'm pretty sure you can get out that 125 horsepower in sport mode. But I have a different setup than what they have on their website for that bike.
Yeah, so we're big fans of 2-in-1s because it really does help with performance. And but a lot of people want the 2-to-2 exhaust, you know, for the looks or whatever the case is. We do tend to lose a little bit of overall performance, but we have to understand that's at wide open throttle. You know what I mean? That's at the 6,000 range over there. So sometimes the 2-to-2 will give you a shut that. There we go. So a lot of times it'll give you better performance here where you're actually riding at, right? Which was your 25 to 3,000, 3,500 RPMs. So you got to take that as in consideration as well. The only reason why we like the 2-in-1s is because it gives you a better flow, and you start releasing that exhaust and it makes the motorcycle run cooler and overall better efficient, right? The 2-to-2 like this, you get that look that you're going for, but it tends to give you less performance over here and gives you a little bit more heat. So that's something you need to take as consideration as well. So,
and another thing we decided to do was the muffler, the baffles in here. We still went with the louvered on the right and the ripper on the left, just because that's the sound and performance that actually made the best coming in the area that I ride. It didn't have the best overall horsepower and torque compared to the open muffler, but whenever, like he said, the area that I ride in between 2,500 to 3,500, it made the best torque and horsepower gains, which I'll go over later.
Yeah. So you can actually see it here on the dyno. And I believe, I don't remember the numbers, but I think I had sent you the graphs. I believe the first 3. So I think that was before the dyno tuning. That was the left ripper and the right louvered. And I think that was
ripper,
right,
I believe.
Right. So you can see the difference, and then that was the third one there. So
open on both
right
sides,
so
yeah.
The open gave you more torque and horsepower at the beginning, which is in that area right there, but overall it didn't change much from there on that way. And that was, of course, that's before dyno tuning.
Yeah, that was just done with the base 505 tune from ThunderMax. That was how I've been riding it for a couple months now, and that was definitely before any tuning was done.
Yeah, and so a lot of people have this misunderstanding that you're constantly wide open on the dyno, and it really isn't that way. I mean, most of the times is spent, you know, especially like here on a ThunderMax, it takes so much longer because here on a ThunderMax, you gotta move, let's just say, I don't know, let's just say 1,000 RPMs. You got to move each one of these little squares, so it takes so much longer compared to like a Power Vision. But most of the time when the motorcycle's on the dyno, and what you're doing is moving things around, and then you'll do wide open throttles, like 6 or 7 wide open throttles. It's not really, you know, it's not really constant, wide open throttles and putting so much stress on your motorcycle. It's really most of the time is spent here on the computer, moving things around, then riding it, and then checking your AFRs and your throttle response, and then we're very lucky we have an eddy brake, so with that we can put a load on the motorcycle, like if you're riding with a passenger or you're going up a hill, and then at that point we'll add or take fuel away depending on what the motorcycle needs. But I think a lot of people have this misunderstanding that your bike is really getting abused and you're gonna blow the motor up and stuff like that. So that's not the case. So, but overall, it performed very well. These were that was the last one that we did there, but close that one there. So yeah, 119, 134 is what we ended up with. Very happy.
And those are pretty good numbers, because coming in it was at I think 104 horsepower.
Yeah, 104.
With just the ThunderMax 505 tune.
Yeah. It
was, I believe, 104, so it gained like 15 horsepower, and I think around, was it 10?
10, yeah, roughly, torque.
For torque.
So we went from 127 to 134, so.
And what Harley says from factory, it's always from the crank. Now you're gonna lose a lot of horsepower and torque due to driveline.
Yeah,
loss.
I think it's 13% you lose.
Yeah,
I think it's 13%.
Something around there is what I read too.
So yeah, if you just stop and think, you add 13% to this 119 and 134 is what your motor is actually doing at the crank. Yeah.
So online you can look for the 2024 and 2025 roadglide and streetglide. They say that it's going to make 105 horsepower and around 130 foot-pounds of torque, which that again is to the crank. If you go and watch any of the dyno videos of a stock 117 Gen 2, the 2024 and 2025s, they only make around 87 to about 95 horsepower and maybe right around, I think, 115 foot-pounds, 110 foot-pounds of torque. I'll put the numbers up in the video also from what I found. And again, that's going to be in sport mode that they're running on the dynos. And you can look up those videos also. But it's definitely a major difference from a stock 117 to a stage 2.
You're right. Well, I was trying to find a stock tune or a base run, right? But most of these already have cam work and all that stuff. But I was trying to find a base run so we can actually compare what. But I think it's in the 80, late 89, somewhere around there for stock 117. So
yeah, it's not producing as much as they say.
No, of course
definitely not.
That was probably their best run on the best day.
Yeah.
So
yeah, this thing is definitely awake for sure. And it just sounds so much cleaner and sharper than whenever I dropped it off. It's crazy.
And it's very important to understand that a lot of people have also, I understand that getting a dyno tune is an expense, right? But auto tunes and download maps, they don't work. I mean, it might work enough to get you to ride it to your dyno tuner, but it's very important to get these things dyno tuned. Most of the times when you dyno tune, temperature drops about 25, 30 degrees, and that's very important. And also, they run so lean from factory, and then you put a cam and you put a air cleaner and exhaust, and it leans it out even more. So now your bike's running extremely hot. You're damaging your pistons. So on the long run, spending the money on a dyno tune is gonna save you money. So it's very important to get these things dyno tuned. I was trying to see if I can find a map here. Let me see if I can go. So this is a perfect example why it's very important to dyno tuning. So this is a stock air fuel ratio map, right? So it's 14.6 almost all the way across the board. This area right here and this area right here, hardly anybody rides unless you're at wide open throttle. So this is your cruising speed, your idle when you're taking off from the light. All this right here is at 14.6. That is extremely lean. And then you add an air cleaner and exhaust, and it's free floating, so it makes it even more lean. And that's why the bikes run so hot and you can damage a piston. And that's a perfect example right there why you need to get them dyno tuned. Download maps, auto tunes, they might work for a little bit, enough to maybe do a couple of heat cycles, maybe enough to get you to a dyno tuner, but I don't recommend them. It's always best to get them dyno tuned.
And with the ThunderMax, were you able to turn off that auto mapping or whatever now?
Yeah, you can if you want. Go back to ThunderMax here.
Because I know ThunderMax does that. Whenever you ride, it constantly learns, and then it can mess up the map, I guess, from what you have. And I don't.
So that's another misunderstanding from people as well. So a ThunderMax does not self-adjust itself. So it does learn, but you got to go in there, save the learned mapping, and then rewrite the map to your ECM or to the ThunderMax, and that's when it takes the new graph that it's learned. So it doesn't adjust itself as you're riding, it just learns. And then you got to go in there and write the learned parts and then send the map to the ThunderMax. So a lot of people think because you get a ThunderMax, you don't need to dyno tune it because it's going to self-adjust itself. But this is another thing right here. I'm glad we're talking about that, because let's just go to air fuel ratio. You see air fuel ratio right here. So if you don't go in here and move this around, because the air fuel ratio changes according to your throttle response and towards your RPMs. So right here, let's just say for instance, right here, well, we'll go with 1,000, right? Right there is at idle while you're sitting there at the light. So you can see where this is 13, that's 14. So we're somewhere around 13.2, 13.3. And if we go at 3,500, look where we're at, somewhere 13.8, 13.9. So you need to go in here and move all this around. Originally, it was like this all the way across the board. So you need air fuel ratio, different air fuel ratios at different RPMs and at different throttle positions. So just by getting a ThunderMax and putting it on there, it doesn't work. Even if you get a ThunderMax, they still need to be dyno tuned. It's very, very important that you dyno tune these motorcycles.
So if I don't do the relearn, it'll be fine, right?
Right. Like right now that it's dyno tuned. So again, let's talk about something else that people don't talk about, which is the ThunderMax auto tunes itself. It learns itself, right? So this weekend you're with the wife or wherever, you have a passenger and you're riding real calmly, you're cruising, not hot rodding at all. So it learned that, right? So let's just say you read it, you write it, you send it into your ThunderMax, boom, you got it, right? But next weekend you're with your buddies and you're hot rodding, your throttle's real hard, you're going fast, all that stuff. So now it's reading something different. So you're gonna send that. So next time that you go and ride slow again or calmly with a passenger, it's gonna be off. So it's very important. You come in here, you move things where they're supposed to be, and you set it and you forget it, basically.
Okay.
Yeah. So, it changes. If it's reading it, your writing style, it's gonna learn it and read it. And if you go in there and change it, next time it'll be different.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to spend a lot of money on a dyno tune and then have it all messed up. I don't want to do that.
Yeah. And that's why it's best. We always recommend just get a Power Vision license, get it tuned with a Power Vision license. Because if you have the little gauge there and you don't know what you're doing and you're pushing buttons, it's going to throw your tune off. So best thing to do would be to dyno tune it. You know, let your dyno tuner tune it for your riding style, and you're good to go. So it's very important that your tuner knows where you're gonna need fuel and where you're not gonna need fuel. So, and timing also. Timing is important. So now the next thing will be to get it down and go ride it on the street, see what it does.
I'm excited.
Yeah, you know, and also like I was talking about earlier, if you look at that gauge up there on top at the bottom number, there's a 0 there, right? So right now it's set pretty high. So like we'll start off like on a road glide or a street glide, some kind of touring motorcycle. We'll start off with a 5, and as we going up on throttle, this number gets higher. And what that does, it puts a load on the motorcycle, an indication of a passenger, luggage, or you're going up a hill, or you're going to go over an overpass. And then so whenever you put a load on there, it leans out the motorcycle. So on certain areas, you're going to need to put fuel. So that's very important that all that gets done as well. So yeah, you'll start coming back down when you get a little bit slower RPMs, and then or speed, and then you need to go up as you go faster or higher on your RPMs as well. So that's very important to always add a load to your dyno tune, and that helps you out with the overall efficiency and fuel economy of the tune itself. So
That thing sounds mean. It sounds better, and it sounds like it's running a lot smoother, especially in idle. Because I was having an issue with the idle whenever cold started. It would go up, go down, go up, go down, and this is something I wanted to get rid of finally.
yeah, well, I appreciate you bringing it to us. Hopefully, you get to enjoy it. You know, have a lot better, throttle response, and overall, just the motorcycle. Like I keep saying the word efficient because it does. The motor runs a lot better. It's not actually fighting itself, and it just overall the motor just relaxes. You can feel it like at a certain RPMs. You can be riding on the highway, and the motor's just gonna feel very relaxed, very smooth. Versus before, if it was running real lean, it's running really hot, and then it starts wanting to slow things down. Or on the opposite end, if it's running very rich, then it's very sluggish. You're trying to pass a vehicle, and it just has too much fuel, and you're choking it out. So it's very important that once the motor runs, again, efficient, you can feel that the motor has less vibration, less heat. Overall, it's gonna take less effort, less throttle to go a certain speed. So that's one thing you're gonna notice for sure.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So,
all right, well, we're gonna get this off the dyno and then get it to the street. All right. Let's take this baby on a nice little test ride. So the first mode we're gonna go ahead and do is the road mode. Oh yeah, that throttle is definitely different right there. A little more touchy. Oh yeah. Yeah, this thing definitely feels like how the sport mode was on the tune that I had it on. And I can only imagine what the sport tune is gonna feel like now. Sounds good. Very smooth on the throttle. nice. Oh yeah, that throttle is in the touring mode is definitely how the throttle was for the sport mode. Oh yeah, this thing is definitely worth the money to get this thing tuned properly. And just the horsepower numbers alone and the torque numbers from when I brought this thing in, crazy. Up here at the light, I'll switch it over to sport mode and hopefully I can get a nice little straightaway or something, see how it responds. But I'm also going to do another comparison video with the draggy so we can see the time differences from with the 505 tune that came from ThunderMax versus a actual dyno tune specifically for this bike. Yeah, that throttle is sensitive. Oh yeah. Yeah. This thing is completely different. My goodness. All right guys, just got back from the first ride after the dyno tune and the bike is completely different. It's insane. The throttle response is great. Riding and touring kind of feels like how it was in the sport mode prior. So now the sport mode is just unrecognizable for a 117. Johnny, I appreciate everything that you have done, especially today. Like all the details you've done and stuff like that and explaining. That's
one thing that we're big into. Like I was explaining to you earlier, is that we like keeping the customer informed, and we like kind of, you know, teaching the customer so they have options out there so they can go and finish doing the results, do the research, and then end up with a great product. You know what I mean? So, and that's like I was saying earlier, is one thing you're going to notice is going to be, you know, the throttle response, and then and temperature. It's going to drop down quite a bit. So go ride it when you get a chance, ride it around, you know, give us a little bit of feedback. But yeah, you'll see how the throttle response is going to be there. And then we just proved it on the dyno where in sport mode, it makes a humongous difference. And that's why I always say it's very important to get these things dialed tuned. I know it sounds like a broken record, but you don't have to bring it to us. There's a lot of tuners out there, and that's also one thing. You know, be careful. Make sure you choose a great tuner. Do your research on your tuner. Make sure they have knowledge of what they're doing. Just because you have a dyno, I know it's an expensive tool, but a lot of people may not have the knowledge of how to tune it. So it's very important. Call them, ask questions. If they're not willing to answer your questions, then you might need to consider another tuner. So if you have any questions, feel free to give us a call or whatever the case is. But there's a lot of great tuners out there that will definitely help somebody out. So.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and drop their YouTube. I'll drop their phone number, their address. If you are in the Valley, stop by. Even if you're not from the Valley, you can give them a call. A couple of these bikes aren't even from this area.
Yeah, so. We're very fortunate. We're very lucky. We have people drive. We're so far down south. You know? Yeah. So we have a lot of people drive down and get their bikes tuned, and we're very fortunate. We're honored for people doing that, because there's tuners in that area, but they'll rather come down to us, and we just try to have a better product at the end, you know, where your motor runs efficient and overall you get to enjoy it, you know, whether we got more power out of it or just got the bike to run a lot smoother. So
yeah, right now I was just riding around and it's kind of traffic where his shop's at. And before my bike would get well into the 200s, and it's only at 180, 190 right now for the temperature, which is a massive drop, which is great.
Yeah, we've had tuned motorcycles where they bring it in, they say that we can't even stop at the stoplight where it's just so hot, you know what I mean? It burns their leg. And just think what it's doing to your motor. You know what I mean? If it's that hot on the outside, you know, think what it's doing to your pistons in the inside. So it's very important to get these things done too.
Yeah, longevity is another reason why. You know, I've talked about it before about longevity of these motors, especially in the modern motors, whether it be cars, diesels, or bikes. It's the same thing. You don't want it to grenade on you like relatively quick after you buy it.
Exactly right. So what happens is they get so damn hot that first thing that goes out is your piston, right? But I mean, you got it's running so hot, and your oil starts consuming oil, and that's one thing that hardly anybody checks is your oil level. So then, before you know it, you don't have enough oil to run your oil pump, and then it damages way other things. You know what I mean, on the long run. So it's very important, very very important.
Well, Johnny, Thomas, truly appreciate it, guys.
No problem, man. I appreciate everything you do for us. So, like I said, we're gonna make a couple of videos as well. We'll tag you guys and everything in there too. So we really appreciate your time.
Thank you.
All right.
If you like what you saw, like, comment, subscribe. Check out JCS Performance. Until next time, guys, as always, ride safe.